Hi, welcome to the Words of This Life podcast. My name is Ayo,
And my name is Pablo.
and here we share real and impactful Christian stories from believers who love the Lord and His Word.
Through these testimonies, we want to showcase the virtues of the one who has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. Thank you for being with us here today, and we hope you enjoy this episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Words of This Life. We're happy to be back with you, bringing you another episode. I'm your host, Pablo, joined by my co-host,
Ayo.
and we're delighted to be joined by a wonderful friend of mine of years and a dear brother in the Lord. And we're excited to hear his testimony. So without further ado, Isaac Acosta, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Excited. How about you begin by telling the audience a little bit about yourself, maybe just the season of life right now, what you do, and
Sure.
Just a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Isaac. I grew up in Queens, New York. I now live out here in California, Southern California. I'm an executive recruiter. I work in the commercial real estate industry. And I have a wife, lovely wife, 15 years this year, crazy. And I have two kids, going to be 7 and going to be 10 this summer. And grew up in a Christian household, grew up just kind of with my parents loving the Lord. And basically that's what I'm trying to do now.
Wow.
Just grow up, have a home for my kids as they grow up and kind of follow the same faith. Yeah.
Wow. So this podcast is, as the Words of This Life, we want to know what Christ has done in your life, and where does that begin for you? Like when someone asks you about how you met the Lord, how far back do you like to go? Where do you like to begin?
Yeah. Well, I actually met the Lord personally when I was 7 years old, and I remember it like it was just yesterday. Yeah, as much as a 7-year-old can have a dynamic experience, I really did. I remember it was raining and thundering out there in New York. I was at the grocery store with my mother, and it was like the first time that I contemplated or thought of like death or like what would happen if you die.
Wow.
So I don't know what I asked my mom, but I obviously were asking deeper questions in the aisles of like trying to get some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, right? And I don't know what she said to me, but she definitely dished me off to my dad when we got home. And then my dad, he went through and preached the gospel to me. And I remember him telling me that if I wanted, I could accept and invite Jesus into my heart. And if that happens, then I would be saved and I wouldn't have to worry about, what if I die? I'll be, with the Lord. And I really wanted that. And I genuinely, followed his prayer. I remember we knelt down by the bed, knelt down and prayed. He prayed something and I just kind of followed. And I felt really good. There was a strong feeling like I really invited the Lord into my heart that day. My mom was crying. It was still thundering, and my mom's like, "Oh, the angels are dancing." And it was awesome. That was when I first met the Lord.
Wow.
My story might go a little further back
Sure.
because of my family.
Yeah.
On my mother's side is really interesting. Her great grandfather met the Lord, and then passed it down. So then her grandfather actually was an elder in one of the churches that they met with in the Philippines, in Manila.
Okay.
Wow.
So he's my great grandfather. He's the thriller in Manila. Then my grandfather actually came to this country. He wasn't a minister, but because of how involved they were in the church, that's kind of, I guess they got some sort of special visa to get quicker. So that's how they came to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They're Chinese through the Philippines and then through Brazil to the United States. So faith was kind of passed down. I was considering that verse in 2 Timothy 1:5 where Paul is charging Timothy. Remember, right.
Your grandmother and
your grandmother Lois,
the faith that dwelt in them.
Exactly, the unfeigned faith that dwelt in them, and in you also. So, just I feel so blessed to be part of that heritage on my mother's side, and on my father's side, it's really interesting. When they moved to when his side of the family moved to New York, they landed in Brooklyn. And my grandfather actually used to play professional baseball down in Puerto Rico. He was making like $25 a week. And he found out you can make $30 a week as a carpenter. So he dropped baseball. I mean, he played with like Satchel Paige. It's crazy.
Wow.
He wasn't that great, but he played.
Yeah.
And then he found out you can make $30 a week doing carpentry. So he did that, came up to New York from Puerto Rico, got a job the next day, retired with that same job. Awesome. But they were in Brooklyn, and my grandmother was home with the kids. My dad has 3 older siblings, so there's 4 kids. And someone knocked on the door. And they it was a group called the Brethren. They knocked on the door, and they said there's this like children's meeting neighborhood thing that we want to do for the kids, and that's what kind of introed the Christian living to my father's side of the family.
Wow.
So they got saved through them. Then my father, he actually prayed with his sister when he was 7 years old. And there's a whole nother story for that. And then anyway, so when my parents came together, it was just, we just had some solid kind of, passed down
For
faith.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just knowing knowing your dad a little bit, or you come from both sides, from a solid like lineage of believers, lovers of the word. I mean, your dad is. I heard your dad say like, I was 6 years old, and I remember a verse when I was 6 years old or 5 years old. So, anyways, I just feel like you have that. It's awesome to
as a heritage.
As a heritage, right.
It's, and I you don't really understand how much you get from growing up in a house like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's through osmosis or whatever, right? But like you get a lot.
Yeah.
Even if you're not like in the word yourself, like just growing up in that environment, I feel like that was such a blessing of a foundation to just be in a home like that. So I want that for my kids. Yeah. I want my kids to be in a church community home. Yeah. Where the church members are in and out of your home, right? They're having lunch and dinner, and sometimes they're babysitting your kids, and your kids are becoming friends with the college students in your church community. Like that is amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So that was kind of like my intro to becoming a Christian.
Yeah, I did want to ask you about you have strong heritages on both sides, and you have this home. I wanted you to get into like the day-to-days. What was home like for you? Were you always in a church gathering? Like,
yeah. Okay. 7 years old. I don't really remember much of what happened. After that, when I was in 6th grade, I had a dynamic baptism. That was awesome. And then at 7th grade is when I began to like go to the meetings of the church. And like the youth services kind of thing. And actually, those are my closest friends. They come from that group of that I grew up going to
till today.
Wow, yeah,
that's special.
Real special.
That's
and honestly, I thought about this. If I met them today, I would think they're all quirky and weird and like different. I would not be friends with them today if I just met them today.
Yeah, man. Wow.
But, yeah. Wow. But so you ask, what was my home like? My home, for whatever reason, it was the home that was just in and out, people in and out, whether it's neighbors, friends. I have 2 younger sisters that our home was always, the doors were always open. Everybody was welcome. And we would have meetings like in my home. I remember was it like Fridays or Saturdays, we would have like college meetings that like all the college students would come over and they'd do some worship, sing some hymns, get into the word a little bit, get some fellowship. So that's kind of like all I knew. It was normal. But aside from that, like my parents didn't miss a thing. Like we were in sports, I played high school varsity basketball. My sisters played high school varsity volleyball. My parents didn't miss a game. Wow. They were there. They were always taking me to practice. So it was like, it was normal, right? Yeah. We lived our normal life. They had jobs. They did their thing. We were in school. But it was like normal. It's like a normal Christian life.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. That's so touching. They didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I remember. Maybe
Yeah.
they did. But
Yeah.
That's all that matters. That you
yeah,
remember.
I don't remember. So yeah.
They were
I
there.
remember. Oh man, I just remember sometimes it was even like my church community that would show up to my
Wow.
games.
Yeah.
And they're there in the stands, and I'm like, I'm seeing them, and I'm like, I gotta make this bucket because Brother Ray Mulligan showed up. Like, I gotta, yeah, you know,
Gotta
so,
get Tony.
yeah,
Dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, you grew up in New York. I mean, that's like the Big Apple. Like, there's a lot going on.
yeah.
You were in Queens, and what was that like? School, a little bit growing up, teenage years, like friend
Yeah.
groups, and like trying to live the Christian life in a big city.
Yeah, no, great question. I mean, I live in California now, and I never thought I would be out here, living out here. Growing in New York, when you grow up in New York, you just think that's normal life. You don't. I mean, you're in the streets with everybody, right? You just in the subways,
All
and,
kinds
like,
of people.
all kinds of people, and it's just, it's not till I'm an adult now and with my own kids that I realize how crazy it was. Like,
Sure.
and I respect my parents. They let all of us just go into the public school. So we were in the public school system in like the late 80s, early 90s, into the 2000s. At that time, it was a little rough. Like, I think we just kind of took it for granted. Like,
Wow.
that's that.
Did you take the subway to school or anything? Or did you walk?
So my dad would every morning wake me up when we read a Bible, a verse, a chapter of the Bible together.
Wow, that's precious.
We'd have breakfast, I remember, as a family.
Wow.
And then he would drive me to school. And then I think we would, have some conversations, normal conversations and stuff like that. I don't remember too much of like fellowship.
Sure,
right?
sure.
But then I would usually I would take public transportation back home unless I had a practice.
Sure.
And then my dad, he would come in the church van because he had access to it, a 15 passenger, and then he would pick up all my friends, my basketball team, and he would drop them off at their houses and everything.
Wow.
So he was intimately involved.
They all knew your dad.
Yeah, they all knew. Yeah. Mr. A. Mr. A. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's precious.
Amazing.
I'll say this, growing up in New York, you're influenced.
Sure.
You're influenced, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely had some wandering years, right?
Mhm.
So I, in high school, I just really wanted to be like in the in crowd.
Yeah.
And I even like prayed about that. Like, Lord, I want to be cool, right? Like, and then I guess because of basketball, like I actually got in the in crowd,
Yeah.
right? And I remember this. One time I prayed, I think it was like my sophomore year. And I just had like a good time with my friends. And I came home and I prayed, Lord, please don't let anyone know that I'm not really cool. Like, I just don't let them know I'm just a nerd, like
Yeah.
trying to be cool. Right.
Yeah. Right.
So I had genuine kind of interactions, but then, I maybe a little influenced, but maybe because my dad also was
Sure.
kind of, he was like leading the youth ministry in my church, and yeah, I guess sometimes people call it like pastor's son or whatever.
Right.
Maybe a little bit of that, but I
Yeah.
definitely like went the other way. I was thinking about, that verse in Romans 9. I think it's like 15. It's not of him who wills nor of him who runs,
For God, He shows mercy.
but of God who shows mercy. Right? I was running.
Wow.
I was running the other way. Then little by little through high school and college, definitely probably New York, but influenced to go the opposite way that I grew up. So
Wow.
yeah, I can get more into that.
Did you
but,
find
yeah.
yourself having because you mentioned the ones I think when you were baptized, that group, those friends are still your friends now.
Yeah.
Did you ever find yourself having like two friend groups, like your church friend group and your
Oh,
like,
for sure. But
two worlds kind of?
I definitely straddled two worlds, but I always, for whatever reason, combined the friends.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like all my church friends knew my worldly friends and my neighborhood friends, and then eventually it's college, and then like I joined a fraternity. Then like my fraternity brothers knew, like everybody knew each other. Yeah,
You were the glue gluing two worlds.
I tried to. Well, the thing was,
Oh, this is so interesting.
I had to, my parents, they were pretty strict about a few things. One was never missing church on Sunday morning, right? Another thing was that I had to go to all like the conferences, like, as a youth growing up in the church where I was.
Interesting.
We went to these conferences. Now, if I had to go to the conference, like, I know that's a
Non-negotiable. We'll do that.
non-negotiable. I can't not go to the conference, but I want to have fun at the conference. So I gotta get my buddies to go to the conference. So I'm the one recruiting my buddies. Like, you gotta go to the conference, man. You gotta go. So anyway, there's a lot of like that, and I guess
Wow.
later in life, I'll tell you later about. I was also recruiting my friends to go in the opposite way, which wasn't so good later in life. Yeah.
Wow.
So, in high school, college, like, what was your goal in life? What were you seeking to?
Oh man, I wanted to make money.
Okay.
I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be.
NBA.
Well, okay. You asked me when I was a kid. I wanted to be. I even wrote this down in my elementary school. I wanted to be a starting pitcher for the Yankees. I wanted to be a point guard for the Knicks. And I wanted to be president of the United States. And I'm like, there's no way.
No way. Aim high.
Yeah.
Gotta aim high.
No, but I want, you grow up in New York and you just.
It's just all there.
It's expensive.
You
gotta make money.
You grow up in like a hustle mentality. You grow up in like a gridded out, like, you got to make it somehow. So I wanted to make it somehow. I don't know why my parents let me study education. I have like an undergrad and a master's degree in education. That was probably the worst if you're trying to make money, right? But that's what I wanted. I wanted that. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So when the prodigal son was in the world, he had a moment where he was eating the pig's feed and he came to himself. When was that moment?
Coming to myself?
Yeah.
There are two specific.
That's a good question.
Yeah, great question. There are two specific moments that I can recall. I remember this was in college, and I remember being at this event that I had like recruited friends to go to, right? And we were all at the event, and probably like a party or something like that, right? And I just remember being off like in the corner, posted up on a chair, like kind of sitting here with the feet on the chair.
Yeah.
And just kind of surveying everybody, and everybody that I cared about was in that room. Everybody that I would call like my close friends, they were in that room. And but most of them were like worldly friends, right? And I just remember sitting there, and I'm like, is this it? Like, I just felt the biggest sense of emptiness. Because we weren't there for anything of the Lord, it was the total opposite.
Sure.
And I just felt like the biggest sense of emptiness, like, Ecclesiastes 3:11, where it says God has put eternity in man's heart, right? That eternity kind of was like beginning to stir up at that point. So that was like step one, was like, I just began to see the glitter kind of fall off of what I thought was cool and fun and what, life was like about. And then it was shortly after that, one of my best friends that I grew up with in my church community, he got into a fight, and it was a pretty bad fight where, anyway, not all the details, but basically it was like a lieutenant's son that he beat up, ended up going to prison for 5 years.
Wow.
Now, obviously you don't go to prison right away, right? So then there's like the trial and this and that. So that shook everybody up, and then we're all kind of living with him through this trial period, literally. And then the sentencing was going to come out on this next day. And the night before the sentencing came out, my parents had a prayer meeting at my house, and they invited everybody. They invited the church community. They invited all of my friends, because my friends were his friends, and they invited all our friends, not just the ones that grew up in the church that we went to, but friends from the neighborhood that I met at the basketball courts and stuff. Wow. That were good friends from my fraternity, friends from different jobs that I worked at, and like friends, like the heathen. Everybody was there. The Jews, the Gentiles, you know what I mean? Like, they're all there at a prayer meeting.
And they knew it was a prayer meeting.
And they knew it was a prayer meeting. They came to support our friend. And we're there, and I remember, for whatever reason, I remember exactly where I sat. I was sitting right behind my friend, and then the prayer meeting kind of like, it died down a little bit, and he stood up, and he was kind of consoling everybody. He said, listen, I know what I did. I know the consequences that will come to me, and I'm at peace with the Lord with what consequences I have to pay. And I'm totally fine. And then he turns around and points right at me. And he said, Isaac, but where are you? In front of everybody I know. He says, where are you? And I just felt like it was God in the Garden of Eden when he was looking for Adam after Adam sinned.
Right.
Wow.
And my friend, basically, he was like, you always encouraged us in the right way. And I don't know where you are right now. You're going in the wrong way. You're off. You're off. I mean, my family was there, my friends, everybody. That like crumbled me inside. And I just remember, I don't know what I said at that moment in front of everybody, but I remember walking around the neighborhood that day in tears, that night in tears. And it was the first kind of real conversation I had with God in a while. And I was just like, God, if you're real, you got to make yourself real to me right now. It's been a while. You got to make yourself real to me. I remember my little sister meeting me in the neighborhood, as I'm in tears and I'm hugging her and I'm saying, I'm so sorry. I'm such a bad pattern. You could do better than me, I just remember that embrace. But it was that night that I literally brushed the dust off of my Bible, and I opened my Bible for the first time in a long time, and I was like, okay, God, you gotta make yourself real.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Right. So I began to read my Bible again, which was huge. I began to not duck some of the older brothers that were like at my church trying to encourage me, go to this,
Right.
come over to this person's house for dinner, or come to this meeting, or, hey, let's just read the Bible together. I started going back we had Bible studies on campus. I started doing that. And yeah, just kind of, that was the U-turn for sure.
Yeah.
That was the aha moment, or the uh-oh moment. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. So your friend the Lord through your friend spoke to you so clearly. Wow.
So clearly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I find it amazing that you went straight to the Bible that night. I mean, when we need to find God after a period of being kind of cold, I mean, the Word is the place to go. Do you remember what you read, or do you remember, did it take some time for you to really feel like you found kind of the joy of?
For sure. The joy
some-
came later. I
Sure.
definitely kind of willed to turn back first. The joy didn't come back right away,
Sure.
or you didn't feel any warm and fuzzies
Sure.
right off the bat. I don't know if I just played Bible roulette and just opened it up, and, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or if I read Genesis or Matthew. I usually started at Genesis. I think now, even till today, when I go through like a lull in my Christian life, I go back to the Old Testament, and like the Old Testament helps me out so much.
Wow.
Just reading the stories and stuff. I remember one time just during COVID, I was like kind of like, it was a lull.
Yeah.
And I was like, God isn't real. I need to read the Old Testament again. And I was reading about Samson.
Wow.
Samson, and where he, the whole story with the hair, right? Right. And I'm not going to go through the whole story, but when his hair gets cut off, he loses his power, right?
Yeah.
It says in the Bible there, he did not know that he lost the presence of Jehovah.
Wow.
That spoke to me. I was like, whoa. I'm like, thank you, Lord. I would know at this moment if I lost your presence.
Yeah.
So I was just like, Lord, I want your presence more. I want your presence. So it's like stories like that in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
They definitely like helped me back. So I'm pretty sure at that point I went back to like Genesis or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned how you were ducking some older brothers.
Yeah.
And maybe your friendships, you were purposely not allowing the Lord to operate in them previously. So when you had this turn back to the Lord, was there an older brother? Was there companions?
Oh, for sure.
How did the Lord take care of you in those ways through others?
It takes a village, they say, to
Yeah.
raise a kid. Yeah, it takes a whole church community to raise a Christian, right? Um, when I had that turn back,
That's right.
there were
That's exactly right.
3 specific older brothers that I can remember that really shepherded me back to the flock, so to speak. One of them, he lived 2 blocks away from me. He had a son that was in high school at the time when I was in college, and we connected on ball and playing ball. And he would have me over his house every Thursday night. We'd have pizza. We'd watch Survivor together. Yeah, Rick?
Sure, bro.
We'd pizza, Survivor, and then we'd read a chapter of the Bible together. And it was just so sweet. Yeah, so sweet. That was Ray Mulligan.
Right.
And he was almost like a father to me, especially in those like younger years. Especially also like my dad was who he was in the church, and sometimes it was hard to bring stuff up to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It was tough because some of my friends, they would feel so free to fellowship with my dad about anything. And I'm like, I can't tell him all that. But then I would go to Ray, and then Ray would help me out. There's another brother who would invite me over his house every Wednesday for different college meetings, college gatherings. He had a pool table in his basement, which was so fun. Yeah. So, which probably is a shepherding tool, right?
Yeah.
So that's Gary Schiffers. He's out in Israel, he was solid. And then another brother that would call me up every Friday morning. He would call me up to read the Bible together or something, and I would not pick up my I'd say 9 times out of 10 I would not pick up my phone, and he would still leave a voicemail of him just singing a hymn or something.
I've gotten this before, yeah.
And just singing.
Precious.
I saw him many times. He was parked right outside my window. I would look out there.
He drove to your house to pick you up.
He would drive to my house he wanted to read with me.
And he called you, and you would have picked up.
And I would call. I wouldn't pick up.
Wow.
And wow. So when I had the turn, obviously I'm picking up those phone calls. Obviously I'm having a little morning time with my brother.
Wow.
Right. So that it was that, and then some. There were some companions of mine that were my age that when I had a turn, I was like, brothers, we got to go full steam. I'm always someone to, if I want to do something, I'm all in. So I did have also some companions.
Yeah.
Well.
That helped you go on, like push each other.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
good.
Yeah. Kept each other accountable and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And to the point where you mentioned that your mentality was go, go, go. You had this ambition to make a lot of money, to hustle. How did the Lord touch that? Because you're having a turn, but that turn is a big one.
That's true.
So
I think the Lord touched that later in my life. I think the Lord just kind of covered that or kicked that can down the road a little bit. When I had that turn, I decided inwardly, okay, after I graduate my grad school, because I went undergrad and then straight into grad school, I went to St. John's, and I was like, after I graduate, I want to go. I had heard about this 2-year Bible school I wanted to go to, so I had made the decision. Okay, I'm going. And I don't know if I just grew up in, I don't know, the 90s or like watching too many Italian movies and, man is only good as his word, right? Like I was like, I said it, I can't take it back, right? So I'm going, right?
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I need to honor my word. So I went to that Bible school, and I was touched when I was there at that school, because I was recalling all of the ones that took care of me that I just dismissed or took for granted. We called them like the ones that would come and help and give their time. We called them like serving ones, right? So we would mess with our serving ones all the time. So I remember at the Bible school, the first thing I did when I finished that first semester was just thank all the ones that took care of me. I called them all up and I apologized for a lot of things, like like, anyway, I won't get into
Yeah,
expose
wow,
too
that's
much, but
precious
what
though.
we did. But then as I continued in that Bible school, I was touched. I need to give back.
Mm.
I need to
Wow.
pay it forward. I need to do what they did to me, because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the laundry list of the ones that took care of me, that prayed for me. I was thinking about that verse, Psalm 16:3.
Mm,
As for the saints who are on the earth,
they are the
they are the
excellent.
excellent. All my delight
Isn't that?
is in them. The laundry list of ones that took care of me, those were the saints that were on the earth taking care of me, just like the psalmist said.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated, I just had the feeling, okay, let's put my career aside and let me pay it forward. Let me find a way to serve God, right? And I did, and I did. And it's really interesting. I got married shortly after that, when I was, dating my wife, and then eventually got married. And I had this feeling like all I want to do is have an open home, just like I grew up.
Wow.
Just in the same way that I grew up, that environment, I want the privilege of opening my home the same way. So when we got back from our honeymoon, I remember it's like the first Friday night, and there's some college students that I was connected to at my church, so I invited them. There was a neighbor I was actually reading the Bible with, older gentleman that I had like met just in my community, started reading the Bible with, and I invited them all over. We had dinner together.
Wow.
My wife is a mean cook. Get that on record, right?
Hey, say it again.
And I just remember after that night, I went to my bed, and I fell to my knees, and I was just in tears thanking the Lord. And at that night, I felt like I was the most successful person on the planet.
Wow.
All my friends, and they're hustlers or like really good at their profession. I had some making their millions for their first year.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there with $0 in my bank account, serving the Lord.
Yeah.
But yet I felt like I had a different bank account.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
deposited a lot in a spiritual heavenly bank account. And I just felt like, I don't want to say $1 million, but yeah, that's kind of the phrase,
Yeah,
right? Like
right.
I just felt so successful
Wow.
in that time. So like full circle, I think the Lord kind of took care of that, like kicked the can down the road a bit, and then kind of came to fruition then.
Yeah. Wow.
When I met Isaac years ago, you were in full-time campus ministry, right? I think you did that for a while. You were
Yeah,
full.
yeah.
You were.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment when God called you to serve in a full-time kind of, or how? 'Cause you mentioned you wanted to give back, but was there more in that transaction with God about,
Yeah.
becoming a full-time minister?
It was probably my second year in that Bible school, just kind of reading the word and kind of praying a lot, and realizing that like maybe I had a change of value when I was there. And I realized what a privilege it would be if I could just take a few years, or take my whole life. That didn't happen, but like just to give a few years back to the Lord. And I can't tell you what exactly it was, but it was almost like a burden that began to like snowball and stew. It got bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time I was about to graduate, it was almost like there was no other option. Like I couldn't do anything but give my life to the Lord somehow, some way. And I can't tell you how valuable I did serve in a full-time capacity for 8 years.
8 years.
I can't tell you how valuable that has been, even now. But like during that time, I felt like, that verse, Joel 2:25, like the Lord was restoring the years that the locust had eaten, all the years that I wasted, and I just felt like it was such a blessing to be part of, this enterprise that God is in, this divine enterprise. And in the Old Testament, the priests, their function was basically to bring people to God or closer to God, right?
Right.
You could say like shorten the distance between God and man, right? I just felt like what a privilege it would be to do that as your job today, right? Not as a priest with the robes and everything, but like in a normal way, meeting college students, meeting neighbors, and just shortening the distance between God and whoever I meet. Right?
Wow. 8 years. Any highlights of those 8 years? Something, I mean, I know some of the ones you took care of now are themselves serving full. They're recently Andy got married. You were there.
Yeah. Good.
Any highlights from those 8 years?
There was a group of junior high and high schoolers that I would have over my house all the time. All the time.
You have some junior highers in your house.
Yeah.
Doing it, bro.
And, we'd be, playing ball, football, baseball, basketball. I wasn't the greatest at soccer, so I'd let them play soccer, right? Video games, and they knew in my house we could have fun, but we're going to get into the word.
Yeah, we're going to read that Bible.
We're going to read that Bible. We're going to read that Bible. We're going to sing some songs, right? We're going to get the real food, right?
That's awesome.
So my highlight really, it was just kind of seeing them develop, junior high, high school, and now they're all, graduated college, and some are married, and I got to speak at one of their weddings.
Wow.
Last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
2 weeks ago, and oh man, that was awesome. I think my favorite part was, they had me speak, so I like walked in with them, but before you were all hiding behind because the procession or whatever. And right before I'm about to go out, and Andy's like, no, come here. We got to huddle up. And we huddled up, and we had a little prayer meeting right before they went out to get married.
Wow.
And I was just so touched. I was like, wow, now I'm being shepherded by the former 7th grader who I used to shepherd.
Yeah.
So maybe another highlight was, my wife and I, we did a Thursday night Bible study and door knocked my whole community. And we rented like the community room, or forget, in an apartment complex, they have like that.
Yeah, like a
whatever community room, right?
Room,
yeah. So we rented it out every Thursday, and we just said whoever wants to come do a Bible study. And my wife and I did that for 4 years together,
weekly,
every week.
Wow.
It sucked during football season. But
when was it? What's that?
Thursday night, seven to 8. So it's like right at like halftime. I'm like, this game was getting good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Talk to us about serving with your wife. That must be really special.
Oh man, that was super special. I think, serving with my wife, especially early on, like we were just married. So just kind of praying together and getting into like some ministry together. And yeah, I mean, it's not that the recipe is, it's just it's like getting to the word and praying together, really. That really built a solid foundation for our marriage. And, now as parents, I don't think there's anything like it if you're like one with your spouse in that way. Yeah. It's like, it's even hard to explain, but
wow.
But yeah, it was great. Looking back, it was, I don't know if we could do that now with the kids and everything and the schedules, but I'm like, I'm so glad we did that. It made us really get into the word.
Yeah.
Because we had all of the community like looking at my wife and I, and I'm like, we just did this to open kind of our home without opening our home yet, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is, I mean, we did open our home for a select few, but not for everybody. We had the community room, right? But like we had to labor sometimes, because when you go through a book, because there are some chapters you gotta,
what do you bring out?
You gotta dig.
You gotta really dig in.
You gotta dig. So those are the times we prayed a lot. Yeah.
So you did the thing in your home and the community thing
doubled up. Yeah.
Double like
Thursday Bible study with the community, and then Friday we opened our home for kind of the college students and stuff like that.
And you and your wife would lead that the Thursday night time?
There was another brother that lived in the community, Steve Bellingham.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was like the three of us.
Wow.
Really. And then there's some like some others would pop in, like Mark, Tom, or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Were there any misconceptions and expectations about serving that the Lord took you through some experiences to unlearn? Um, like when you're like, okay, I'm gonna serve, you probably have like these ideas of your capacity and what it's gonna look like and how it's gonna go, and it usually doesn't go that way. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I can't
Hmm.
like put my finger on something right now, but I do know there were many times I thought I would just be on a high the whole time.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to labor. You still have
Yeah.
to, you get into the word yourself. I think, I don't know if this answers your question, but there were times when I was serving where I would not forget, but maybe not put as much emphasis on my personal time with the Lord, but do a lot of like work service. Like, oh, I got to get this done. We got the Bible study coming up. I got to study the Bible.
Yeah.
So I'm like studying the word, but I'm not like
Enjoy.
enjoying it for myself to
Yeah.
get fed.
Mm.
And then and those are great eye-opening times, but when sometimes it hits you in the face because you're dry, and now you have to like, you're in a position to like feed someone else in a spirit, like a spiritual diet, but you got nothing yourself. So
Yeah.
it just overemphasizes the point where we all need a morning time or an afternoon time. We all need a personal time with the Lord.
Yeah.
You got to be in the Word
For
like,
sure. That's right.
Yeah, got to
Old
be
Testament.
in the Word. Yeah, Old Testament.
Man, the Old Testament will save you, man. That's true, man. You gotta.
Yeah.
So, what is something like from those 8 years of serving that you feel like you were able to pick up and bring into your now working life? Is there something that, I don't know, learnings or because when you work, your life looks different. When you're serving, you're all the time maybe expected to be in the Word or whatever. But now, I don't know. There's some things that translate from the serving life into the working life that helps you pursue.
Well, I think everybody may have a different. If you serve the Lord in any church, any different community, it's going to look different, right?
Yeah.
Where I served in Irvine, it was very scheduled, and they held that schedule like really high, not breaking the schedule. So I think that was a huge benefit to me.
Wow.
Even now in my working life is scheduling in the times of the Lord, or maybe an afternoon time, or Bible reading, or having appointments with someone that you like to get into the Word with, something like that. So I think the biggest is like the practical side, just like kind of like the schedule means everything. You live and die by that thing. If you don't have a schedule, you're just going to be off. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm getting the timeline correct, you served for 8 years, and then you transitioned into the role that you're in now.
Correct.
As a recruiter.
As an executive recruiter, yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen some guys I know that are close to me that transition from serving from nearly a decade to going back into working is not so easy.
Mm-hmm.
What was that transition like, and what would you even give as a word of advice for people going through that kind of transition?
The Lord slapped me in the face during that time. Let's just put it, I'll be as blunt as possible there. Growing up, I was like a nerd. I told you, right? Like I had good grades and everything. And I felt like my confidence was always high. Like I could do anything, right? You give me a job to do, I'll get that done like really good. So when I was transitioning from serving the Lord to like now beginning a career, I was like, I saw all these jobs posted. I'm like, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. And I go to these interviews and they're like, I'm either not getting a look, or they're hiring someone that's like, 8 years younger than me. And I'm like, you're a doofus. Like, I could do this job. Like, you just give me the job. So the Lord definitely broke down my confidence a lot, to the point where I felt like I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
And I just at that point kind of had to lean on the Lord. I'm like, Lord, like, what do I do now? Like, Lord, I had a lot of like honest conversations with the Lord. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's next for me. I just have to trust in you. And it was the Lord that got me the job that I'm at now, still almost 10 years later. And it was through a brother. Like the Lord led me to have fellowship with a brother, and the brother was like, "Oh, I know some some recruiters that you could talk to see how you can kind of get into the industry." Because I was open to anything at that point. And then someone said that I could be actually what happened was I was trying to get back into education because that was in my degree. So I went to this recruiting agency, and some of those like temp agencies where they ask you all these questions, fingerprint you, and you're good to go. So if they get like a temp job, you can go the next day, right? So they told me to suit up, resume and everything. So she's interviewing me, and halfway through the interview, I'm like, I could do her job. Like that was my confidence, right? I was like, I could do her job. So I was like, mind if I ask you a question? Right? How did you become a recruiter? Because I think I could be a good recruiter. And she was like, I'm sitting here for the last 20 minutes thinking the same thing. Like, you should be sitting on this side of the table. Okay. So then at that point, I began to like fellowship with some brothers that I knew in my church community. Like, do you know any recruiters? Like this, that, whatever. And then one of the brothers, he has a hotel company and a hotel development company. And he's like, I'll connect you with some recruiters I know. It just was serendipitous, or, obviously God's sovereignty, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I should say that the recruiters that he used were leaving a big agency to start their own thing. And then I met them, they loved me, and I joined them like a startup, like, and then about less than a year into it, one of the partners, it was too startup-y for him, so he left. And then the other
Too startup.
Yeah, then the other partner looked at me. He's like, "Well, you want to be my partner?" I'm like, "Let's go."
Wow.
So anyway, so he and I have been doing this, and we have a few people that work for us now. But again, it's the Lord. It's the Lord. It was at the right time.
Yeah.
I had to be open to it.
Wow.
But the Lord did a number on me. I had a lot of honest and open conversations with, I was mad at the Lord. Hey, there's this verse that came to me. There's a Psalm 55. I think it's 17. It was like, evening and morning and at noon, I groan or moan, right?
Yeah.
And it says, but he hears my voice. But he hears my voice. I did a lot of like moaning and groaning with the Lord throughout my years, but it's good. That's what I learned. It's good to just be open to talk to the Lord, be honest with him, even when you're not feeling 100, right? Just like be mad at him. But be mad at him, like open to him when you're mad, right?
Yeah.
And then the Lord has a way to kind of come in.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Now you have kids that get mad at you now. Yeah. Anyway, now you're a father now, and I just want to talk about this kind of stage of life, fathering, and what's something that you want to pass on? What's something you want to pass on to your kids?
Everything. I would love for my kids to just live a normal life, loving the Lord, and I'm trying to set them up for that in the best possible way by, obviously we're open our home now, and we have, the kids are there, when the meeting's going on, when the Bible reading's going on, when the fellowship's going on, they're there. And I just want them to just just be normal, be good at all the things you're supposed to be, education, your job, your career, but also be good at loving the Lord. I just want to present them proper patterns that they can kind of aspire to be, proper Christian patterns as well. I think that's really what I want to give them. Obviously I want to give them the world, but like, not the world in a worldly way.
Right.
Like, I want to give them everything.
For sure.
But I think the best is just to set them up for success in the success, the divine success, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Are there any practices that your dad did with you that you practice with them? Like the chapter in the morning, the eating the breakfast, the picking up their friends.
Picking up their friends, being an Uber driver, there are some practices that I will eventually do like those. I think they're a little younger now, but we pray every night. We pray every night together, which is really precious. Sometimes they pray the same prayers every night, but yeah, we pray every night, and it's really sweet because sometimes like they you just want to get them to bed, just go to bed sometimes,
Right.
and then they'll open the door and be like, we didn't pray yet. So I'm like, oh, true, Lil.
Yeah, we did. True. Oh yeah, sit up again.
Yeah. So we've built up a routine for that. I did also get the great privilege and opportunity to pray with my son when he was 7, because he was asking some questions. Some eternity was getting
Eternity questions.
Yeah. So I did get a chance to preach the gospel to my son and pray.
So
I think it was
precious.
shortly after like a summer Bible camp they went to,
Wow.
but that was really cool.
Do you have 2 boys?
I have a
Boy,
son and a daughter.
Yeah.
I have a daughter who is turning 7 on Saturday,
Oh wow.
and then I have a son that's turning 10
Oh, my
end of the
goodness.
summer. Yeah.
And they both surf.
So yeah, Cali kids. Yeah. Surfers, skaters. Yeah. They love soccer though.
They do, huh? They're upon the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Every game that's on, they're like, okay, which team are we rooting for?
Choose a country.
Yeah.
How is fatherhood changed your relationship with the Lord, deepened it? Going from they're 7 and 10. That. So you've gone through infancy, toddler, like how is the Lord real to you in all those moments, and just even being a father?
Sometimes I look at my kids, especially when they're going through something, and I'm like, when are their parents going to show up? Because I forget that I'm their parent, I think early on, was huge. My wife went through some health thing when my son was born. Well, it was actually in the womb. That desperation of prayer with my wife and I during that time was huge. It's one of those experiences where you couldn't pay me to go through again, but you couldn't pay me to give up the experience that I went through, right? It was that my son was born shortly after that, so we were kind of nervous if anything would health-wise affect him. So yeah, a lot of conversations with the Lord, personally, with my wife, prayer, and yeah, that's that. I remember at that time, my wife and I were like, "Wow, this is like what growing up feels like when you're having like the real conversations with the Lord, but then you're making also the decisions as well." And in those times, you really kind of grow up. You really kind of grow up, but then at the same time, the trust in the Lord is deepened, and you begin to really trust that the Lord has what's best for the situation, for the family. So I think like early on, we built kind of a foundation. So even through till today, that's something that we've kind of built on, that has helped us till today. And I'm sure that the tougher years are coming, right? I have a daughter that's 6, she's going on 16. So ask me in 10 years, right?
Yes, right.
And she's feisty. So
Yeah.
I got my hands full for sure.
Yeah. That would be, yeah. Yeah, we didn't talk much about you and I'm always curious how you met your wife. You and your wife are both from the East Coast, right?
Yeah, she's from Philly.
She's from Philly. Is there
She's from
a
Philly.
quick 30 1 minute of your testimony of how you both came together?
Quick testimony.
How the Lord brought you
let me do
together.
this. Yeah, so I met her at a summer church camp in Boston, of all places, or Newton.
Cool.
Newton.
Yeah.
And she's in Philly. I was in New York, and I saw her, and I was like, I like her. I was going into 9th grade. She was going into 7th grade. So I went up to her and was a goofball. I said, hello, you can call me Ishmael. It's like the opening to Moby Dick. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I
That
said
is
that.
so nerdy.
Anyway.
I don't know. So she legitimately thought my name was Ishmael for like the longest time that week. And well, anyway, so we met and I got her like AOL screen name, and we
Wow.
you know
AOL.
yeah, the boomer days, right? I got her screen name and we became friends, and obviously I liked her. And then we stayed in touch. Ended up going to her prom, which was kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
When I was in college, she was a senior. But it wasn't until, so there was definitely some attraction.
Sure.
But it wasn't until I graduated that Bible school that I was like in a position to like really be in a relationship. And so I seeked her out, reached out to her, and she gave me a shot, and I told her all I needed was one shot. So, uh, so we've known each other, family friends, I guess you could say, for like the longest. That kind of there's a lot of meat in there,
Wow,
maybe for another kind of podcast.
that
But
opening line just it worked. Huh?
yeah, you can call me Ishmael. Yeah, Moby Dick.
When did you recognize that, she had the same heart for the Lord that you did?
Oh man, that was when she answered like an affirmative, agreeing amen when I said this. I took her out after the Bible school and everything, and I was really serious about dating her, courting her. And I remember we had sushi dinner. I hated sushi at the time. I love sushi now. My kids love sushi, which is a bad investment for your kids.
Oh, yes.
It hurts your pockets. I said, the line basically was, you will always be second in my heart. The Lord will always have the first place. And she said, amen. She said, you're always second for me. It was like, and it was at that moment I was like, wow, like she loves the Lord as much as I love the Lord. Okay, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what comes of this.
Wow.
That's so reassuring. In a way, that's the most reassuring thing to hear from a partner, that the Lord will be always first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
One common theme that I'm noticing, and we've talked about it, but the open home.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you're giving to your community and your kids now.
Mm-hmm.
It's what was given to you by your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of your testimony is about having that open home.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to people that are afraid to open their home?
Yeah, that's a great question, because if you don't grow up in that environment, that's so foreign to you. And it's like, people don't even open the door anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone rings the bell.
You look at the
Everybody's like,
footage.
shh, no one's home, right? Yeah. What I would say to someone that is aspiring to do that maybe is there are some steps you can take. Obviously, if you have that desire to open the home, it's not just to open the home. It's to open the home so that, like I mentioned earlier, like a priestly service can happen where God is the distance between God and the people in your home is getting closer, right?
Yeah.
So if that is like the real kind of motivating burden or factor, then there are some steps you can take. I would say number one is maybe meet those people just for coffee or for tea or boba or lunch or dinner, right? Meet them and, begin to have those types of conversations, fellowship, if you may. That's step one. I mean, a coffee appointment, right? Step two was like what I told you, I didn't invite everybody to the home, just a select few, but we opened the whole neighborhood to come to that community area, right? So that could be another kind of venue or area, and then just kind of take baby steps. And then eventually just, if you feel comfortable with the ones that you are taking care of or have a burden for or no, then at that point you can open your home. There are kind of steps. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And even, the next question for people is, I want to open my home. I think I can do that. What am I supposed to like do with the people inside the home? Like, am I
Mhm.
supposed to read the Bible? What do I like? What would you even say then?
Just be you, man. Just be you.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
don't try and do something that's not you.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Just
good advice.
you enjoy the Lord. Just bring someone into that same enjoyment. If you try to do something, it's
Yeah.
gonna come off like that,
True.
and no one, they're not coming back, right?
Yeah.
Why would you? Why
Mhm.
would you?
That's great. Yeah.
So be you. You enjoy the Lord, and then you do.
Mhm.
Sing some hymns if you like to do that, or have a little fellowship, or read the Bible. Like, there's no like real recipe.
Yeah.
It's just you have the burden, you have the home, you have some good food. Everything that comes after that should be led by the Lord.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great advice. I feel like that's a precious thing about the intersection between the Christian life and the home. That's where you're yourself. That's where you're you.
Right.
And if you're putting up you're like
A
tap
facade,
dancing,
yeah.
doing something like special,
Yeah.
then it's not you, and you're gonna get tired of it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna want to host something that you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
awesome. Okay, got one for you. If the Lord were to give you a nickname, what would that nickname be?
Ishmael's a good one, but I would assume he would call me Jacob,
Mm.
because I always tried to weasel my way out of things, and the Lord is doing a work on me to transform me into
Mhm.
Israel. I feel like I really love the story of Jacob turning to Israel, and at the end of his life, I think it's Genesis 48:15. It says, "The God who has shepherded me all the days of my life, even until this day."
Mm-hmm.
But you look back and you read, it doesn't look like shepherding at all. It just looks like a whole lot of anxiety and trauma, and just, it was too much of him trying to be someone, but God was doing his work to make him something else.
Right.
And that's the real shepherding. The real shepherding is what the Lord is doing in us, right? So, yeah, I think probably Jacob, because I'm not Israel yet, that's for sure. Like, so probably
Yeah.
Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we all can relate to that. I mean, in the way we're all Jacobs,
Yeah.
just the Lord is working on
Heel
us.
holding, right? Just
Yeah, man. For
It's
sure.
just funny. Like, I mean, it's not like you're at the end of your life, but like you can look back and you see the Lord's hand
Yeah.
in everything and at every stage. And it's like, while it's happening, it's like, is the Lord here? But he's there.
Right.
He's
Mm.
Right.
there. I love that. Every time we look back in hindsight at whatever stage we're at, you just see the Lord's hand. And I don't know, it just gives you kind of reassurance that he's here now with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that eventually you'll look back at this moment and say that the Lord has
Yeah.
shoved me through that too. So,
Yeah. Wow.
I like
Yeah.
that.
I feel like the Lord looks at us and he always just, in even though we're still Jacobs, he sees Israel, he sees that,
Yeah.
he sees that you're going to be that, and we're just in the process,
Yep.
all of us are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally.
Were you able to ever reconnect with those friends from your past?
Oh, 100%. Oh, I didn't tell
Just
you this.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just recently, when we for the Knicks, right?
Yeah, right.
No, so let me tell you this. When I was in that Bible school, I had a burden for all my friends, especially, and I made lists. I made different lists of family, friends that I grew up with in church, friends from the neighborhood, friends from work, friends from school, friends from my fraternity, and then miscellaneous, right? So I literally wrote down their names. I remember it was about 250 names, 252. And
What's our names?
I began to pray over those names every single night.
Wow.
Not just like in depth, but just, Lord, Tommy, Lord, John, Lord, blah, 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 blah. And I just began to get a burden to say something to them, to preach the gospel or just something. So I began to like post, on social media, just like verses and something that I enjoyed. And then if there was an opportunity, I would speak. There was one day, one of the kids in our high school in my senior class, he died. And I think we had to have been only like 24, 25 years old at the time, right? So all of us kind of were interacting, texting each other. Did you hear about so-and-so? Did you hear about so-and-so? And I took that opportunity. And 7 of my friends that day, I led to the Lord. My high school friends, I led to the Lord.
Wow.
You know, life is short. Like, what's the meaning of life? Have you been thinking about that? You know, and then I would talk to them about, you know, the Lord Jesus. And most of my friends in New York are either Catholic or Jewish. So they're like religious, right? So they know about God. They know like their version of knowing about God, right? So I just kind of went on that angle. Like, do you actually really know the Lord Jesus? And anyway, so I got to one day bring 7 of my friends from high school to the Lord. But that whole list, I prayed for them, and I want to say like about 95% of that list was checked off.
Wow.
in the years after that I graduated that Bible school.
Wow.
So all my friends that were there in that room with me, you know, some of my fraternity, but like some of the ones that were the craziest, worldliest ones that I thought, why are they even on this list? Some of them are now meeting in different churches around
That's super encouraging.
the country. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when the Lord brings you out of your prodigal episode, there's maybe the desire, maybe out of embarrassment, to just forget about that and forget about all the people that were with you during that time.
Yeah.
Did you go through anything like that, or what was that feeling like?
Coming out of Egypt, so to speak. Yeah. Well, I just ripped the Band-Aid off. I went, my friends like threw me like a going away party for the night before going to Bible school. So I literally ripped the Band-Aid off. But, you know, like I said, like I'm a man of my word. I got to keep my word. I'm still going, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were definitely times leading up to when I was going to come out to that Bible school, and where I was like, should I just like nix it all and just, but I was like, no, I got, you know, I made a decision. Like, I'm going to do this, because I really want to take steps back towards the Lord. So yeah, there were times where, you know, friends would call me and they're all out and they're like, oh, hey, what's going on? Like, so-and-so's here and so-and-so's here. And that, you know, like, your soul misses that sometimes, right? So I was just glad I wasn't close enough to home to be able to just drive over and you know, and be with them or whatever.
That's right. You were all the way on the West Coast.
Yeah. So during their time, there was some yearning to, you know, like want the Egyptian food again, but I went the total opposite way when I really touched something real. And I began to now show them the food that I was eating, the spiritual food, and try and encourage my friends the other way. So I just trying to, you know, do the same counterattack. Move, right? Yeah. Hey, this Bible. Milk and honey.
Yeah.
I think we're nearing the end of the episode. But Isaac has been awesome. And at the end of the episode, we have this little segment where we like to get to know our guest kind of a little more humanly and a kind of a, just as a person, you know? And we just throw at you some rapid fire questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right. So how long have you lived on the West Coast now?
Since 2007. So it's almost 20
It's like
years.
is it half and half of your East
almost
Coast?
20 years. Yeah. Almost. It's getting there.
All right.
Yeah,
so East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast or West Coast? What are we talking though? What are we talking? Nixon 5.
I guess for living. Like,
for living.
For living. Like, think about I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you live at?
I would not. See, I don't want to say this too loud so that the Lord would like do something. But I love where I'm at. I don't think, if I had my way, I probably wouldn't leave the block that I'm on, because it's just so convenient for the kids and everything. And the life that I'm like, you know, now forming for my kids. Like, So West Coast in that
West Coast.
aspect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
In that aspect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
You on?
Let's strip the family. What like family part of it? Like, what's your favorite thing about New York versus California?
Favorite thing about New York.
My favorite thing about New York.
And then your favorite thing about California?
I mean, favorite thing about New York's got to be food, friends, and family. Like, but it's probably also the nostalgia. Like, I grew up there. I was just there last week. I just driving by, and I'm like, oh, I used to work there. Oh, I remember that. We used to play ball at that park. Oh, it's like, oh, I had a hookup at that tire shop, or I used to get free pizza over there, and like, so the nostalgia maybe. And then the best thing about out here, it just seems, well, obviously can't be the weather. Come on now, come on. That's why we pay our taxes out here. The weather.
That's right. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Really.
But it's a little more convenient than being in like the concrete jungle or being in like a city. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember bringing East Coast kids for the first time to SoCal on a trip like a few years ago, and they just saw the lawns and the houses all green and perfect. They were like, "Oh my goodness, there's green." I remember I texted you right there, and you were like, "Yeah, but the East Coast is rugged."
Yep.
That's up.
I know you had hoop dreams. So which basketball player were you trying to emulate their game during your basketball
When I was
career?
growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Jordan for sure. I hated him, but because he beat our Knicks all the time.
Oh,
But I respect. I mean, I have his jersey. Like, huge MJ fan. Yeah, so I always try to stick my tongue out too, with like doing the moves. Yeah. The turnaround. Michael Jordan for sure. Allen Iverson was another one that like you couldn't not want to be like.
Sure.
And then Jason Williams. Those were like kind of the top three like that from my era.
Yeah.
when were you in high school, if you don't mind?
I was in high school 96 or 7 to 01. I graduated 01.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kobe was just coming up, so
Sure,
yeah.
Favorite Nick of all time? What was your favorite Nick?
It's Jalen Brunson.
There's only
Come
one
on.
answer. Like
It's Jalen Brunson, and then it's Jose Alvarado. That's it. That's it.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Jalen! Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Where were you when they won? Sorry.
Where was I?
Yeah.
In New York.
You went.
Yeah, I flew once we came back from down 29. My wife bought a ticket for me. She's like, "You got to go." So I went out and just did a watch party with some of my friends in New York, and yeah, we were there. We were there. All the trauma from my whole childhood was released. It was amazing. Yeah.
Do you think they will repeat?
Next year?
Yeah.
I think we have a shot, but you know what? I don't care about winning another championship for the rest of my life. I'm good right now. I am so good.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
That was great.
What were the streets like? Did you walk around New York?
Oh, the streets were immaculate. You mean after we won?
Mhm.
They were immaculate. It was just, it was like this. It's hard to describe it, but it was like this. Everybody was family for one night,
Wow.
no matter what race, ethnicity, where your political views were, your age, gender. It was like old people, young kids out there. There was just, and the cops were out there. I mean, everybody was just happy.
Yeah.
It was just, we were hugging. I hugged so many strangers, high-fived so many strangers I'll never see the rest of my life. But for that night, we were family. And it was so much fun.
Wow.
It was awesome.
It's amazing.
Wow. You got to live it in your lifetime.
Yeah, now the Lord can come back. I'd be happy. I prayed that after. I was like, okay, Lord, now you can come back.
Oh man.
Wow.
Man, this is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no,
Spend
thanks for
time
having
with
me.
us.
Cool.
Thank you for joining us for this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. And keep liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll listen to your comments and keep bringing you wonderful testimonies of the words of this life.